Hello, we are today going to talk about rounding, and I'm going to look at a bunch of different examples. I'm going to be looking at significant figures, how we round to certain significant figures, round into decimal places, and other types of questions they may ask. Now, you probably already feel very comfortable with rounding. There are some particular cases here which are kind of tricky, but you don't need to watch this video if you feel that you really know what you're doing. You can just go ahead and try with many quizzes around and just make sure that you do know how to round in some of the funny cases. I will talk about those cases here, but let's just get on with it. So first of all, just what is the point about rounding? What do I normally round to? What am I supposed to do with rounding? The main thing is you have to choose something sensible to round to. So for example, if I'm thinking about, hey, what's the population of the area, the municipality of Greater London? Well, I can actually look it up, and according to Wikipedia, is 8,787,892 people. Now, okay, if I'm thinking about this number, I have a bunch of questions about it. Isn't it logical to think that some people will be coming and going and this population number will actually fluctuate? Because if it's going to fluctuate, then, I mean, does it really make sense to hold on to this number very tightly? Is that not going to be 893 or 894? How's that really going to be represented? And do I really even need that amount of detail? So I'm going to say, you know what, I don't. I'm going to go for something a bit more logical. And I'm going to round it to something that I think is going to be a bit more representative. I'm just going to say 8,790,000 people. I just rounded that number to three significant figures because it makes it easier to deal with it, and also it makes more sense that way. Similarly, something happens with money. Let's suppose I have a currency and I want to exchange the currency into pounds. So for example, perhaps I'm changing dollars into pounds, and I do my operation at the exchange office, and it tells me that exchange office agent has to give me 34.56987 pounds. Now, does that make sense? I mean, sure, the exchange agency officer is going to give me pounds back, but how many exactly is he going to give me back? Well, it doesn't make sense. It's going to have pounds and it's going to have pennies, but it's not going to have those 987 because that currency does not exist. So this rounding doesn't make sense. I will get rid of it and I will go for something sensible like 34.57 rounded to four significant figures. That said, in exams, always round to three significant figures unless you have been told specifically to do otherwise. So I'm particularly interested that you all master how to round to three significant figures. Okay, let's move on. Rounding to significant figures, essentially what you do, if for example you have this number, the zero doesn't really count, this is just place values, it's telling you where the numbers start, and the first number that's going to count is the 7. That's the most significant figure that I have. The next one is going to be the 5, then the 3, then the 4. So the third significant figure is the 3. After that, I put a little line because I'm going to get rid of everything that comes after this green line. So the 4 is going to go away. Is it 5 or more? It's not. So I'm just going to leave the number as is without the 4 and the round it to 0.753. Now, important to remember to write down 3SF is a good thing. It's a good detail to just let people know that that's how you rounded the number. If, for example, I have to round this one, my most significant figure is the 3. The second most significant figure is the 2. And the third is the 6. So I'm going to put my green line over here. Now, what comes after the green line is 5 or more, yes, because 8 is 5 or more. So I'm going to round up this number by 1, and it becomes 32.7. Third example, 15 to one significant figure. Now, sometimes it looks kind of weird because actually the most significant figure is a 1. So put my cut over here, and this is 5 or more. So actually, this is going to round to 20 to one significant figure. Seems a little bit weird, but that's actually what it would become. Let's take a look at this one here, 834.6. If I round to three figures, 8 is the first, 3 is the second, 4 is the third. I put my cut here, and this would become 835. Another one here, Now this one is interesting. 4 significant figures, first significant figure, second, third, and fourth. Now you may ask, why am I counting a 0 now? I wasn't counting a 0 over here. Well, if the 0 is sandwiched between other digits, like the 4 and the 7, you do count it. It actually means 0 or 10, well, it depends how you want to think about it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm going to be putting my cut over there. So that's going to become 3.408 to 4 significant figures. This was also interesting to 3 significant figures. Well, I'm going to have to put my cut over here, 4.39. Now what's going to happen is that because this is a 7, this one has to go up by 1. So, but I cannot really put 9 up by 1. I would have to put a 0. And what do I do with the 10, with the 1, with the 1, 0, 10, right? Like, I'm going to have to put it here. So that will become 4.4, right? Now, I don't actually write 4.4 just like that because I would need the number to be in 3 significant figures. So I would actually write it down like this, 4.40. The reason why I will write this number, which I normally don't, is to clarify, to signify the fact that I rounded to 3 significant figures. The fact that actually I do have that level of accuracy here. It's not that it's 4.43, is that it actually is 4.40 and then some other stuff. Final example, if I have to run the number like this, just 2 significant figures, this is like the population example before. This is a very big number. This is 79,432,763. To 2 significant figures, the first one significant figure is a 7, then the 9, and then the rest. So I'm going to put my cut over here. And what do I do with all of those things? I do not round this number to 79. You cannot round 79 million just to 79. You would just round it to 79 million with zeros. That's it. That's how you do it. That's how you round to significant figures. Again, plenty of exercises to practice with. Quickly look at some decimal places examples. If I have to do this to 3 decimal places, I do count the 0 in this case. So 1, 2, 3. I will put my cut here. So it becomes 0.098. This one to 2 decimal places, I will put my cut here. It becomes 32.69. This one to 1 decimal place, I would actually leave it as 15.0. Again, to signify that that level of accuracy has been applied. Finally, some other examples. Now, these can be very varied. There's no specific rule about how these list of how many ways they could ask you. Just 3 examples just to remind you to have some flexibility of how they might ask you to round a particular number. For example, 43.8654 meters, and perhaps I have to round it to the nearest centimeter. Well, if this is meters, this is going to be decimeters, and it's going to be centimeters. So I know there's 100 centimeters to a meter, which means I put my cut over here, and to the nearest centimeter, I would just say it's 43.87 meters. Maybe they give me a quantity like this, $1,566.98, and I have to round it to the nearest dollar, so I put my cut over here, and it becomes $1,567. Now perhaps I have a number like this, and have to round it to the nearest 100, 56456. So the nearest 100 is going to be between the 4 and the 5, and I would just round it to 56500. Well, that's everything you need to know about rounding in a nutshell. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in class.